Good afternoon. Yeah, I'm alright. I'm not going to say that name because that's going to get me demonetized immediately. It's not going to be top tier 4. It's not going to be top tier. You're in the wrong place if you want top tier. That's more like it. There's a few more people in there now. Give about another minute or so. And then we shall make a start. Whilst we're waiting, I'm actually going to get all this set up. Actually, am I the first one to do Nurburgring? Obviously, no, there's Tier 1, Tier 2 Round 6, there's ESPORTS, there's Formula 1, Auckland's Glen. Yeah, I'm the first one to do Nurburgring out of all the commentators. I seem to be ahead of the game at the moment. It's been long enough. So, welcome to the Green Hell, otherwise known as the Nurburgring. I think Tier 4 was one of the only tiers. Let me find out on BX's lovely yeah, Tier 4 were the only ones to have a wet race. Hello, Kenny. Yeah, Ma, I'm not going to say your full name because A, I'm not going to make a fool of myself. I'm not that gullible, and B, I'm going to get demoted. I reckon I'm going to get told off if I say that. And then again, I swear on the very rare. I fucking don't care. Anyway, so welcome. Tier 4 were the only ones to have a wet Nurburgring race. As you can see, the ground is a bit shiny over here, and on top of that, the moisture meter down the bottom left by the car on the tyres, we have got rain on the surface. So our qualifying session, I'm gonna be honest, I was one of the drivers that fucked up and clearly can't read, and so did everybody from 15th to 7th, because only 6 drivers set a race time. The drivers that set a race time was Cherry, Wiz, Illyri, Pasty, Davi and Yuri. Everybody else, so Granelli, Jin, JMS, Boa, Dr. Esty, or Dr. Wiener as I've started calling him, myself, Swavi, Auto and Moo did not set race times because we didn't actually read any of the rules, turns out. So, that being said and embarrassment over, yeah, welcome to the Green Hill. 2 laps around this iconically iconic track. Let's leave that there. In wet conditions, well, I say wet conditions, greasy, wet slash potentially dry conditions after half a lap. So it's tricky conditions. You either get a good start on the inters and then burn your inters for 2 laps, or you start on the slicks, not actually move anywhere at all until sort of about halfway around the first lap, gain a load of time, but then can't pass anybody because the dry line's the best line to be on. Anyway, going through the grid, we'll come back to that in just a moment. We got Yuri in first, Davi in second, Pasty in third, Illyri in fourth, Wiz in fifth on the soft tyres, whereas the top 4 are on the inters. Cherry in 6th on the soft, Granelli in 7th on the inters, Jin in 8th on the inters, JMS in 9th on the inters. I know about this. Boa in 10th on the softs, a new driver to tier 4 and also a new reserve driver. Welcome. Hope you had a good debut here at the Nurburgring. You picked a horrible track to come and debut, but nonetheless, I hope you enjoy, and I hope. Then got Dr. S.E. or Dr. Wiener in 11th on the softs. We then got Gummad in 12th on the inters. We then got Swavi in 13th on the softs. We got Auto in 14th on the inters, and then we got Moo bringing up the rear in 15th on the softs. I believe Amy was in this race. Yeah, Amy was in this race as well. Amy, unfortunately, has been having lots of internet issues. So Amy sat out the quali and the sprint to hopefully try and resolve the internet issues before the feature. So Amy will be joining us in the feature race. Anyway, enough talking. Let's get going, as we got 5 red lights around the green hill of the Nurburgring. And away we go. Yuri gets a really good start compared to Davey. People stood in the background as JMS in the background spinning around. I think, okay, let's go back. We need to go back already. I was afraid this was going to happen. Let's go back from Cherry's point of view. Let's try and stick sort of at this high angle, so you can see in the headlights that it's still raining. Granelli and Jin get really good starts. JMS in the background spins, collides into Gummad, which then spins JMS into Boa. Gummad gets a good start. He's now up to 9th. Dr. Esty's up into 10th. Auto was down a bit further back. He's now up to 11th. Swavi's now in 12th. Boa's now down to 13th. JMS is in 14th, and Moo's gone through the pit lane. You cannot go through the pit lane on lap 1. And you get a 3-second time penalty for crossing the white line. You're not having a great race. You're not having a good race at all. Going further forward. Let's jump back forward. Let's see what's going on. As Yuri's in control of this race at the moment. Davi's chasing down Yuri. And so is Pasty. Pasty's not far behind. We've got Illyri in 4th, Granelli in 5th. Jin in 6th. Here comes Gummad for 7th position. So made up a good couple of spots in the opening couple of corners. We've got Dr. Esty in 8th, just about making those soft tyres work on this dry line. So Dr. Esty might actually have an advantage here. It's just wet enough for inters and it's just dry enough for slicks. It is literally the perfect crossover for both compounded tyres, but it's starting to rain again, so that wet line's now going to become even wetter, and Dr. Esty's probably going to start struggling now. We then got Auto in 9th. We then got Swavi in 10th. We then further back we got, oh my god, okay, if I'm going to have this problem with black screen when I'm going back, I'm going to try my best not to go back too much, because I do not want to waste you guys' time. So Cherry having made a horrible start. Oh, Boa just touches a wet line on entry. So this is going to drop him right back to 15th, unfortunately. So Muna gets promoted up to 14th. Wiz started really well and high up the grid. Now down to 13th. Let's go through these couple of corners. It's really tricky to only get through these corners in the wet. So he can't take too much curb, he can't rely on the curbs now. So this is probably the tightest group at the moment. We've got Auto versus Gunmad. This always goes well. No, I'm joking, it usually does. So Gunmad's not, oh yeah, it definitely went really well as Gunmad got out onto the wet and slippy stuff and goes slightly wide, which promotes Auto straight up to 7th position. Gunmad taking a little bit more curb than maybe he should. And just ahead we got Granelli in the Audi R8 as I think he just goes completely wide. He does. He just runs it completely wide and misses his breaking point, and this is going to now it's going to allow Gunmad to try and have a look. No, I think Gunmad has a little moment as well. Just about keeps Dr. Esty behind him. Oh no, Yuri, what's happened to Yuri? Sorry, last time I looked, Yuri was in first. Come on, catch up. This better not be doing this all the time, if not. I don't want to make this boring. Oh no, Yuri just drops it on his own in the wet and goes from first all the way down to 5th. Does Auto catch up to him? Auto does close that gap a lot, and further up ahead we've got O'Leary trying to go up the inside of Pasti for 2nd position. O'Leary, the front runner of the two Ferraris at the moment. His teammates on the soft, but Ferrari's doing a split strategy, and we've got Jin right behind them as well. Further back we've got Yuri, who's now got Auto all over the back of him, and Gunmad's gotten past Granelli going around the right-hander before this uphill bendy straight. No idea what I'm going to call this thing. So Gunmad now up to 7th, leading this pack. Further up ahead we got Auto versus Yuri. Further ahead of that we got Jin, who's on the back of Pasti. And Davey is all the way up into 1st position and is now going to try and take off and pull away from this group. Looking at the moisture meter down at the bottom, it doesn't have to be off the racing line as O'Leary goes a bit deep. Jin goes up the inside of O'Leary, corner or so ago as Jin's now up to 3rd position. Auto's now up to 5th, which means Yuri must have had a little bit of a mistake. Yuri's now gone from 1st to 6th in half a lap with damage as well, so I think Yuri has had the problem, and Gunmad's now right behind him. So two teammates are going to try and work together. I'm going to say this because we were talking, and the pair of us are going to try and stick together and work together now. So behind him, Swavi's gotten past Dr. Esty and Granelli, who I reckon might have had a little issue. Let's go back through the rest of the grid very quickly. JMS is now in 11th. Soft tyres are now starting to become alive, starting to become a thing. We then got moved. Oh my god. How have you gotten a 12.5 second penalty? Oh no. What's happened? I'm about to go forward and check through the rest of the grid. What has happened? So Gunmad dropped off the back of Yuri just for a little bit, maybe to grab a little bit of clean air. Gunmad goes around, the right-hander comes out to open up the corner. Oh, Swab just gives him a little bit of a tap on the rear. and go straight on through. So Gummad's got a little bit of damage, not going to throw too much of a fuss, it looks like, just going to carry on. I did see that, obviously I did see that report, because I did report this morning. Sorry Swabby, no hard feelings, but... So, Gummad now down to 8 with damage, so potentially under threat as he's going sideways and getting all squiggly through a section where you're meant to be completely flat out. Does Dr. Esty have a look? No, as we both drivers get a little bit of air going down the dip. Well, over the jump. As through this next bit you are absolutely flat out. Oh, Gummad gets it wrong again, goes a little bit wide, has to lift out of it so he doesn't get a penalty. Is Dr. Esty going to try and capitalise? No, he can't capitalise. Gummad's opened up enough of a gap. Now jumping forward, we've got Swabby in 7th. You've got Yuri in 5th, chasing down O'Leary. So O'Leary's now dropping down. Auto's gotten past O'Leary. As we go further forward, Auto's now attacking Jin. Are we going to see these two work together to try and capture capacity, or is Auto going to try and get past Jin? Now Yuri is giving O'Leary a big push down this straight. That's the fastest that Ferrari has ever been down this straight, I can probably guarantee it. As Yuri now comes out of the slipstream, it's now going to be a drag race, which the the Mercedes AMG is definitely going to win, because O'Leary's speed is not really gaining as we go further forward. What's going on up here? As Pasty gets it all sorts of wrong, gets sideways going into the final sections of corners, and this is going to allow Jin straight up to 2nd, Auto up to 3rd, Pasty down to 4th, Yuri's now up to 5th, going to try and chase down Pasty, who's got damage. O'Leary comes through the line to start the final lap in 6th position. We got Swabby in 7th, Dr. Esty in 8th, having gotten past Gummad, who's now in 9th, going to try and hold up JMS as long as humanly possible. The Inters are now going to start to struggle. This is now soft tyre territory. If you pit, you're dropping out the top 10, especially if you pit in the top 10, you're going to be nowhere near it by the end of the lap. It's one thing to catch a driver, it's another thing to pass, let alone pass in conditions as greasy as these. If you go offline on a slick tyre, your race is done. As JMS is trying to look all over the road and trying to find a way past Gummad. Gummad knows all he has to do is just sit on the racing line, not go wide. As we got a yellow flag up ahead, what's happened? Yuri's gone off again. So Yuri's gone off again at the top of the hill. So is this going to allow Gummad to catch right up to his teammate? It is. Is his teammate going to let him past? Kind of. They're going side by side. So Gummad's now up to 8. Yuri's now down to 9. Two teammates working together as best as they can. Yuri's now going to try and hold off JMS. JMS dispatches Yuri pretty quickly, actually, because Yuri went a little bit wide around the right-hander. So JMS up to 9th, back down to Gummad to defend 8th position. That was a lovely camera angle. A spark shooting out the back of that AMG as we come up the hill around to this tricky section. Gummad taking it nice and steady. JMS trying everything he can. He's trying to get the exit. He's got the faster tyre. He's got the grippier tyre. He knows he's quicker. He can't let desperation creep in though. Go round the quick left-hander, brake left again, and then round to the right. As we go down, plummeting down the hill. This is where Gummad had a moment last lap and let Auto through. It doesn't look like he's going to have another one this lap. He's keeping JMS behind. Sitting in the middle of the racing line and on the dry patch. It's where he needs to be to keep defending. What's Gummad? Gummad goes off a little bit wide, so Gummad understeers off the track. So this is going to allow JMS and Yuri straight back through. I think Gummad stayed off the track just a little bit whilst his teammate was there. So the Inter's now very much struggling. This is going to release JMS. Excuse me, start trying to chase down Dr. Esty as Pasty now drops down to 6th. Well, did drop down to 6th, as we're now side by side with O'Leary in the Ferrari. Pasti gets the job done as we go through this kink left-hander up to the late apex right-hander. In the dryers, Dr. Esty gives O'Leary a little tap going into that corner, so this is going to drop O'Leary straight back into his teammate. Are these two going to play team orders? O'Leary's on the inters, JMS is on the softs. Doesn't look like it. These two look like they're going to have a battle. They do have a battle. JMS sort of forces his way through, finds just about enough of an opening on the inside and makes it work, going further forward. Pasti's gone off again. Pasti's gone off the track again, struggling from the looks of it. So Dr. Esty's caught right back up to the back of Pasti as we go round this long right-hander, coming up to the carousel as Pasti does not get the exit. He's after Dr. Esty, does get the exit and drives past him like an absolute missile stab rat before we get to the braking point. So up to 5th, Suavi up to 4th, battling with his championship rival for 3rd position. Auto's on the inters, Suavi's on the soft, so we'll stick with this battle for a little bit. As Auto goes off the track, does he rejoin? He does rejoin. He stays ahead of Suavi at the moment. Suavi trying everything he can. This is where he had a moment with Gumad a lap ago. Auto sticks on the dry racing line. Suavi's forced to go out onto the wet stuff, which hasn't worked. This is what I mean. The dry tyres cannot go out onto that wet stuff, otherwise they have no grip at all. So Auto keeping 3rd position, well I say keeping 3rd position, as he gets a little bit sideways as we go further back, as Dr. Esty's had an accident from the looks of things. No, that's not going to help. And then you come back onto the wet stuff and light up the rears. Oh no, so Pasti back up to 5th, JMS up to 6th, Dr. Esty getting going again. Is this going to allow Yuri, is he going to have a go? He's going to try and have a go. Gummad's now just behind. Gummad's tyres have dropped off the cliff. Pretty much. O'Leary's in 10th at the moment, with Moo in 11th on the softs. Can Moo catch up to O'Leary for the reverse top 10? Let's jump back further forward. We got Yuri versus Dr. Esty for 7th position. Dr. Esty on the softs, Yuri on the inters. Going further forward again. Suavi has gotten past Auto. Auto's got himself some damage because of the black screen. I'm not going to go back and have... fuck it, we'll go back and have a look. Providing it's not too far back. Alright, we'll go back here. As we got some interesting soundtrack in the background. I can hear on my right here. Whilst we're waiting for the black screen to not become a black screen anymore, I'm going to have a quick catch up on the comments. So let's go back and watch this as Auto has a little bit of a moment. This is going to allow Sally Sway. Okay. Interesting. Come on, catch up. Thank you. So what actually happened here? So, Auto's not gotten a great exit, Suavi has. Auto's gone on the grass and used quite a bit of curb, which has unsettled the car. Made him have a huge moment, so Suavi's tried to capitalise. Suavi at the moment sort of doing that trajectory. Auto's trying to do that trajectory, and two do not go into one. Contact's made there, which sends Auto wide and then sends him off into the slippy shit and then off into the grass and into the barrier. Suavi then brakes for the right-hander, which you don't brake for, you just go flat. I don't know. I haven't seen that reported. So I can't comment too much, as Davey has just led from the start. Really, he's led from sort of like corner 10. I can't remember exactly where. Somewhere in this confuggle over here, he's led, and he's dominated. He's not been touched at all. The nearest competition is Jin, and Jin's about 500 miles behind Davy, and I'm surprised Jin's actually in second with the Ford GT. I'm quite surprised actually, but I suppose good things comes to those who wait as we come through the final couple of corners. We'll stay on board with Davy. We'll give him his moment and his shining glory as he comes around the last corner to take victory here at the sprint race in the Nurburgring, as we then come on to Jin, who has got the best result of the season for him for second position in a sprint race. We then got Swavi in third, very closely followed by Auto in fourth position. We then got JMS, who started on the soft tyres at that point there, spun around and was nearly last, now comes around the last corner for fifth. Pasty doing pasty things and spinning around for sixth position. We then got Yuri coming over the line in seventh, Dr. SD in eighth, just holding off Gunmad in ninth. We then got Moo, who had 10th and then decided he can't drive anymore, that then promotes O'Leary up to 10th position, with Wiz just behind him in 11th. So Wiz just missing out on that top 10 as Moo just about gets his car straightened up again, loses out to Cherry, who finishes in 12th, Moo, who finishes in 13th. Moo had it in the bag and threw probably one of the biggest throws I have seen this season. So with Boa there trying to create his own racing track and racing line for the final sections. The game said, how about no? I was going to say, if he just came reversing straight back on, that'd be comical. I'm going to go back and have another look at that. Okay, we'll come back out to Grinelli in just a moment. Oh, that was brilliant. Come on, game. Load. If it's going to be like this, I'm not going to do too many back skips, because it's not fair. So how does... Oh, he just can't get his stops. He turns off the traction control and has a huge fucking burnout. So, Boa comes over the line for 13th position. We then have got Grinelli finally finding the correct way to go around the course. Someone's left us. There were 15 drivers. Or there 14? I don't know, but I can't remember. Anyway, Grinelli losing the rear just before this very, very long straight. Let's stay with him until the end. I can't remember if the countdown gets him or if he does cross the line. Oh, that was close. That was nearly the pit lane. There we go. And the countdown timer got him. So there we have it. There's the sprint race. I'd love to go back and have a look at some of the incidents. But if I'm going to get black screens like that, then I'm not going to bother. I'm not going to bother. I'm That is a good point, actually. P11, fastest lap. Didn't spot that. Good spot, Jin. Who finished in P11 again? Let me just double check my standings. Standings. Who finished P11? Wiz, I'm going to give a shout out to Wiz for a second. Wiz had the fastest lap of the sprint race. So, the driver who started in the top 6 went down, plummeted all the way down because he had a different tyre compound on at the start of the race. Then, on the last lap of the race, had the fastest lap. So I just want to point that out. Well spotted, Jin. I didn't spot that. So, big shout out to Wiz. Now, coming back. Cheers, mate. So, like I said, since I'm having black screens for about 7, 10, 15 seconds, depending on how far back I go, I'm going to try my best to capture everything as it happens. I will try and minimise skipping backs, since I only get black screens for a bit. I may miss things. If I do miss things, my apologies. I might see if I can make another video of just going back and watching it all and hearing me commentate, quote unquote, it. I'll go back and find it and then maybe have that as like a little side video. I don't know. I need to speak to Ross about that. But nonetheless, let's go through the grid. We got Illyri in first on the mediums, Gumad in second, Dr. Esty in third, Yuri in fourth, Pasty in fifth. So Pasty and Yuri, that is a Pasty and Yuri are in a championship battle for third position. So this will be a battle I will be trying to keep my eye on. On top of that, the Lamborghinis, the AMGs and the Renaults, just back there, are in a constructors battle for third. I believe it's a constructors battle for third. Are they in a constructors battle for third? Yes, they are. Definitely for third, not and potentially even second. So second, third and fourth is very much a battle between the Renaults, the Lamborghinis and the AMGs. So this will be something I'm going to be keeping an eye on, especially over this round, since it's the second to last round and the final round next week. Anyway, carrying on, we then got JMS, a really focused version of JMS, in 6th position. We then got Auto in 7th. We got Swavi in 8th. Oh, damn. That's a fine looking ass from Jin. Oh. It's weird because I got 2 melons. I got 2 watermelons in... I got a pair of melons in tier 5 and I got Jin's fine looking ass just there. Anyway, we got Jin in 9th. We got Davi in 10th. We then got the fastest lap owner in the sprint race, Wiz, in 11th. We got Cherry in 12th. There we go. And we then got Boa in 13th. We then got Granelli on... Okay. In 14th. We got Moo in 15th, and then here's Amy. We then got Amy in 15th. So, I was right, we did miss somebody. Because we had 14 finishers. Oh, might have been... No. Who left then? I think it might have been Moo at the end. I don't know. Anyway. So Amy brings up the rear this time, and hopefully her internet holds out. Hopefully. Also, mate, what the fuck? Why are you on inters? It's a bone dry track. Right, enough of that. Let's get going. As we come around the last corner. Gumad's already on the back of Illyri. Gamad's not going to try and let O'Leary get away when he can smell the lead of the race right under his nose. So Gamad's already closed right up on O'Leary, opened the gap up to Dr. Esty. I think he was caught napping a little bit. Yuri's now right behind Dr. Esty as well. Pasty's dropped off the back of Yuri. Let's go back further forward. Let's keep an eye out through the rest of the grid through these coming corners. As O'Leary goes wide. O'Leary goes wide around the left-hander, so Gamad's going to swooping straight through into the lead. Gamad leading this race with O'Leary close behind in second, Dr. Esty in third, still being chased by Yuri in fourth position. Further back from that, there's Pasty. Why are you going black screen? They're literally just there. Thank you. Pasty in 5th, JMS in 6th, Auto in 7th, Swavi in 8th, Jin in 9th, already being challenged by Davi in 10th position, the sprint race winner. Then there is a huge gap behind them, with Wiz in 11th, we've got Boa in 12th, we've got Moo in 13th, Amy in 14th, Cherry in 15th, I think Cherry must have had a moment, and then we've got Granelli bringing up the rear in 16th, losing the rear. Anyway, let's go back further forward. This is where the action is as Yuri gets past Dr. Esty. Probably going around the right-hander, I should imagine. Going down the hill, Sparks flying out the first AMG in the lead, and pretty much everybody else further behind. As Pasty goes off into the grass in the background, so Pasty's not having a great start to his race, because here comes JMS. As Swavi goes up the inside of Auto going around that complex, so Swavi's not holding any prisoners either. Swavi's making moves, he wants to push forward. So, Jin's still holding on at the moment, Pasty's still just about holding on to 5th. As Auto's still fighting up with Swavi. Jin trying to use Jin using his vastly faster car in a straight line, going around corners somehow as he goes off into the grass to try and catch up with Auto and Swavi. Swavi breaks a little bit of a gap in the braking zone to Auto. JMS is still trying to close the gap to Pasty, but Pasty's opened it up over the past couple of corners. Swavi's now trying to dial in on JMS. Let's stick with this pack for the moment. As I look further back on the mini-map, there is a couple of cars that have dropped back. Swavi's now opened up the gap to Auto. Probably that Super 8 is going to be quick around this track. There's a lot of straight lines, well I say straight lines, there's a lot of points where top end is going to be a lot more key, but I don't think Swavi got the exit he was after. JMS has just disappeared. Swavi has not got the exit. Here's Auto. Auto's deep in Swavi's slipstream. Jin's caught up as well. Jin's still on the back as Davi's dropped back off Jin quite considerably as well. Auto trying to find any gap, any sort of opportunity, putting his nose absolutely everywhere, trying to make Swavi make a mistake really. As we come into the braking zone, Swavi goes a little deep initially. Auto tries to get a better exit. Swavi's sideways on exit. Is this going to allow Auto straight up the inside as we come up to the carousel? They are side by side coming into the carousel. Auto takes the carousel. Swavi has to go wide initially and then dips in. Further ahead, JMS has gotten past Dr. Esty. Dr. Esty's been passed by Pasty as well. As we go up the hill, round the left, JMS has got the inside. JMS keeps 5th position. Auto's just behind. Auto's now going to try and dispatch Dr. Esty quite quickly and swiftly as well. It's just behind that. Davi's now reeled in Jin as well. Auto side by side with Dr. Esty as they go round the left-hander. Auto can't get the inside for the right. Does the switchback? Does he get the switchback to work? No. Swavi's now diving up the inside, going around the right-hander. Pushes Auto off as we go round towards, and Jin goes off as well. Carnage has happened, which has allowed Amy to promote herself up to 10th. We've now got the two teammates together. Wiz is now up to 9th. This has released Davi up to 8th. Swavi's pulled off the side of the road, going to let Auto back through. Suave now loses out to Amy as well, who drops it on her own, coming out of the YouTube corner. That might appear on YouTube later. Let's find out. As Wiz is now going to try and get his debut. Oh, that's something else. Wiz has had a debut here as well. So welcome Wiz to the tier. As Wiz goes straight up the inside, a fantastic move in the Gen X car for 7th position. Going further forward, Davi's now just been released up to 6th position, and he's now going to try and chase down JMS. Agreed. Going further forwards, Yuri's gotten past O'Leary. Is past it. We just witnessed Pasty going off the circuit again. So the two AMGs in 1st and 2nd position. Let's go further back as Davi is caught up right up to the back of JMS. JMS is not... Yeah, the chaos, mate. JMS is not going to hold on too long down this straight. I can tell you that now, because at 458, they've been... I won't say moaning and complaining. Someone in the background, I think it's Renelli, is not having a great time. Now, Davi, I think, is giving JMS a good push down this straight. I've never seen that Ferrari go anywhere near as quick. There we go. So the good push has ended. Here comes Davi straight up the inside. I think JMS knew it was coming, but he's not going to finish. He's not going to be finished yet, as JMS just about holds on to 5th. As we go further back, we got Wiz still in 7th. We got Auto trying to chase down Dr. Esty now. Jin in 10th, holding off Suave at the moment. So Suave and Auto was having a good time until the horrible accident before YouTube corner. As we go further forward, I just want to have a quick look through the rest of the grid. As we got Pasty versus Leary for 3rd position. So open an eye as Leary goes wide again, allowing Pasty straight through. So going back to what I said at the start, the two AMGs, they're in a battle with the Lamborghinis, and two AMGs at the moment are in 1st and 2nd, with quite a commanding lead at the moment. So Pasty's going to try and do all he can to stick with the top 2, to try and minimise the point damage loss that the Lamborghinis are going to currently experience. JMS and O'Leary together on the leaderboard, not quite on track, as Davies are all over the back of JMS as we go through this first fast section around the multiple lefts, elevation changes. As we go around this little right kink and then a very, very quick left-hander. Hard on the brakes. Davi's going to try and look up the inside. JMS is wise to that, defends the inside line. As we go back downhill again through this incredibly quick section, accelerating up to about 160 miles an hour at the bottom of this. As we go up the hill, dab of brakes, round to the left, hard on the brakes again, round to the right, hard on the brakes again for this tight, awkward section. As JMS goes a little wide, gets off the track, this is going to promote Davey straight up to 5th position. A GTI driver dispatched 5 cars in 1.5 laps, really. So JMS now having to defend from Wiz, as JMS is on hard tyres. I have just spotted. What's O'Leary on? Mediums. So JMS may be struggling for grip a little bit. Now, strategy-wise, you can do one of 3 strategies. You can either do the soft strategy, which I'm not seeing anyone on soft, so that's not happening. Oh, so that's not going to work, mate. You nearly made that work. You nearly stuck your nose up the insiders, but Dr. Esty goes wide, which does you a huge favour, and does Jin a massive favour as well. So Jin does you a huge favour from the looks of things by pushing you forward and getting past Dr. Esty. Dr. Esty now going to try and hold up Jin and Suave. Let's have a little look through the rest of the pack. So Moo in 13th, Cherry's all the way back down in 14th. The other Lamborghini driver, I believe, just about out the points at the moment. We got Boa with a 1.5 second time penalty, and then we got Granelli. Why are you still on tyre? Oh no, you haven't even gotten to the end of the lap yet. Oh my god. So Granelli having a horrible opening lap. So coming out comfortably in the lead at the moment. We got Yuri in second. We got Pasti a little bit back in third. We got Davi in fourth, who's just gotten past O'Leary. We got Wiz versus JMS further in the background. Did you pit? He did pit. Good. For the love of Christ, I hope he did pit. Let's stick with Davi for the moment. I know we got black. There we go. That's better. So Pasti going to try and defend third position. So that GTR and that GTR driver are absolutely loving it here. It seems on this track at the moment. Davi's just dispatching every driver and driving an absolute wonderful race currently as Pasti gets those two corners a little bit wrong, goes out onto the curbs and onto the grass. It's going to promote Davi up to third position. Now he's going to charge on and try and contest the two AMG drivers. Let's go a little bit further back to JMS versus Wiz, as we just witnessed JMS go completely off circuit, allowing Wiz straight up the inside as just before we come up to YouTube corner. Let's go round the left, round the right into YouTube corner. Oh, JMS nearly goes off the track again. Also has to take avoiding action, gains the position, so JMS has lost 2 positions in a couple of corners. Auto goes off the track. Isn't JMS going to try and... No, he's not going to try and get back 7th position, or he nearly does, as who goes off? As Wiz goes off. Wiz, I believe, hits the curb or the grass on the exit, so Wiz losing out 2 positions after having... Stop. Go away. After having a fantastic opening race. Further back, Swavi's gotten past Jin over this lap. Swavi now going to try and catch up and make amends for a mistake he made earlier with Auto. So we come down the hill, round the right, left, right, all completely flat out. Just behind me, there's no need to black screen, thank you. Let's have a look at the rest of the pack. How is everybody doing? Amy's still in 12th, still hanging in there at the moment. We got Moo in 13th, having an okay session at the moment, made up a couple of spots. I don't think Moo's having a particularly great time around here this particular evening. And Noah's Cherry misses the carousel completely, but carries on, still not giving up yet, as Boa comes through, misses the carousel and hits the wall from the mini-map. I know we've still got black screen. Oh, we're not going to have one for a little bit. Let's jump back forward. Let me find, here we go. Let's stick here, as we got Swavi's just gone past Dr. Rusty down the start-finish straight, down the back straight. We'll stick with this group for a little bit. And Swabby gets a little bit sideways in the braking zone. So Dr. Esty dropping off the back of Swabby now. Jin, ooh, nearly had a moment coming out of turn 1. Does have a moment coming out of turn 3. So Jin dropped right off the back of this pack now, so Jin's now going to have to start working a little bit for it. Just need to get to here for to cut the grass. Let's jump back forward a couple of cars. Let's see what else is going on. JMS is falling back into the clutches of Wiz. So let's stick with these two for a moment. So as I was saying earlier, about nearly a lap ago actually, strategies. There's 1 of 3 strategies you can do. You can either do the 2-stop, which is soft, soft, soft. You could make it work on the mediums, but you lose too much time. The pit lane's not that long here. It's about tyres plus fuel is about 35 seconds. It's not worth it though, because you can't really make up 35 seconds over 2 laps on a soft tyres without destroying them. So it's not really a viable strategy, I feel. Second strategy, which a lot of these drivers did do, is the medium one stop. Come in at the end of 3. Come in at the end of lap 3, new set mediums, and go on to the end, which I think everybody did. Or something I did do in testing, which very nearly worked actually. You can do 4 laps on the hards, stretch the fuel a little bit, and then do 2 laps either on the softs or the medium tyres and go flat out to the end. Potentially it could work. I mean, JMS might be going for that strategy. I'm not sure if he's going to have enough fuel for that strategy though. So I'm going to be keeping an eye out on JMS. Now we're going to jump back forward a little bit, good timing so, because ALR's just been passed by Auto going through the section, funny enough we're coming into with the previous 2 drivers. So ALR dropping him back, he started on pole, now he's down to 5th position. Auto still in 3rd, Davy in no man's land in 2nd. The 2 AMG drivers together on track. No real sort of look of position change. Gomez just eking out a little bit of a gap to Yuri at the moment. Both drivers are keeping very much control of this race, but they have now got extra pressure from behind of Davy catching them up. So, Auto in 4th position, starting to pull away from O'Leary a little bit. Well, I say a little bit, quite a bit now. As we go further back, I want to keep an eye on this battle, because where the hell is Wiz gone? So Wiz did actually get past JMS, but what happened to Wiz? Wiz just outbroke himself and went into the wall. As further back, so did Dr. Esty. So Jin's now gotten back past Dr. Esty. So Jin's now promoted himself up to 9th position. Wiz is now down to 8th with damage and potentially going to get caught. No, I don't think he's going to get caught down this straight from Jin. Now it's JMS versus Swavi. Down this section, JMS is going to really be struggling, as it shows as Swavi just goes straight up the inside. JMS can't do much, if anything, about it. The straight line speed of that Ferrari is just nowhere near as good or as competitive. I mean, the gap Swavi's already pulled JMS on this straight. It's just, it shows. So, Swavi up to 6th, JMS down to 7th, Wiz down to 8th, Jin up to 9th, Dr. Esty up to 10th, Pasty down to 11th. That's something I missed. Did you pit? Did Pasty pit? Did I miss something and Pasty pit? I think Pasty's pitted. Why though? I don't know. Well, because those tyres are way too fresh. Now Pasty's battling with Dr. Esty, which is now going to back. Yeah, I was just looking at the tyres, but there's contact's been made on the back of Dr. Esty at the end of lap 2. Yeah, but he's got to pit again for fuel. So why waste track position? Or did he make a mistake? So, Amy's still trying to reel in Pasty. Pasty's still trying to get into 10th. I'm just looking up at the sky on the very rare occasion as Dr. Esty gets that corner all sorts of wrong, doesn't get the exit he's after, and Pasty goes straight through. When we next get a moment and we can see the sky, it's starting to turn grey. And there's rain. There's rain coming in. Look at the moisture meter. Rain's starting to come in. So, Pasty's pit stop on the end of lap 2 has probably just cost him track position quite dearly. If he opts for the 2-stop, that's just costing because the rain's coming in. So everybody, yeah, here we go. You can now physically see the rain. So everybody's now going to have to start coming in as we go further forward. As I see some cars quite close together, Davi's caught right up to the back of everybody up here. So 2 MG drivers have tried to keep the gap, can't keep the gap. Davi's just an absolute monster in that GTR at the moment. Come on, black screen. Right, let's stay back here. Let's stick back here for a moment. As Wiz uses the slipstream to get past JMS down the back, down this very long back straight, as the first 3 drivers come into the pits, naturally to change tyres. As Wiz hits the barrier on the entry, as we got everybody's going into the wall because it's wet. JMS comes out of the best, I think, gains a load of time. So does Jin. Jin gains a load. Pasty's into the wall. Wiz is trying to get it going. Everybody's trying to get into the pits. Pasty misses the pits completely. Oh dear. What is going on? As out ahead, Davi jumps both AMG drivers in the pits. Probably puts a little bit less fuel in him. And Yuri's gone onto the wets. Pasty has got no choice but to keep going, as Pasty's lap is going to be horrible. Pasty has got slick tyres on. Here comes JMS. JMS is going to make this pass look like easy. It's going to be like stealing candy from a wave. Miss still contact. Somehow Pasty keeps it on the road. So that's what happened to Pasty. Pasty dropped right. I knew there was carnage. I heard there was carnage because I was reading the chat, but I didn't know there was this much carnage. But I'll point this out. But it stopped raining. Look at the moisture meter. Pasty now, he might struggle for the first half lap or so, for the first quarter of the lap, but there's 8 drivers ahead of him who've all got inters on. They're all going to start throwing that moisture off the racing line. This might work to Pasty's favour, actually. It's going to suck for a couple of corners, but this might work for him. Now going forward, O'Leary being chased down by Jin, as Jin goes a little wide, gets it all stopped and squared up. Let's go a bit further forward. Swabby's in 5th on the wets as well. I think the wet, as Yuri gets back past Davi, so Davi's struggling at the moment. He's behind Yuri at the moment, so the top 3 are very much in a battle. Gumad staying back just a little bit to let these 2 battle. He's going to try and catch up. I think Gumad struggled a little bit in the start of this lap. So Davi fighting with Yuri for first position. Yuri's on the wet tyres, don't forget. And here comes the rain again, so this might actually benefit Yuri on the wetter compounder tyre. As Gumad gets it, all sorts of squiggly coming out of that right-hander. So Gumad's not out of this top 2 battle. So we're going to stick with these top 2. Let's stick with this top 2 and see what happens. I want to go back and have a look at the rest of the grid because Jin's dropped back as Yuri gets a little bit sideways. Is this going to allow Davi around the outside? It is. Davi's going to try and go around the outside. He's made it work. A lovely move from Davi around the outside, going around the right hill, up-hander. Yuri, can he respond? Can Yuri use anything on that tyre to try and respond to Davi? No is going to be that answer. Davi's going to hold on to first position. He's going to start pulling away. He's pulling away quite a lot actually already. So Davi into first position, probably going to be uncontested now for the rest of this lap. Yuri in 2nd, Gumad in 3rd. Here comes Auto in fourth, starting to catch up a little bit to this group. I'm going to stay back here because there's a lot of fighting going on back here. We got Swavi trying to go around the outside, made it happen, going around the outside of Swavi, but Swavi's just going to deploy the straight line speed of that Super and get straight back past again. So it was a good try, but attempt in vain, unfortunately, as Jin's trying to go up the inside of JMS, made it work. There's a blue, yellow and green flag for Brunelli, who's just spun out and pulled over for the main group to go through. Jin up to 7th, JMS down to 8th, O'Leary down to 6th, Swabi still in 5th. But O'Leary's still with him, so's JMS. We all make the corkscrew. JMS just about makes the corkscrew. O'Leary makes a little bit of a hash of it. Swavi goes out wide, so is this going to allow the Ferrari and the Ford to try and catch up? No, Swavi's just a little bit too quick in a straight line, and Jin goes straight on. Does not know how to turn the steering wheel, it seems, here at the Green Hill as JMS goes back through. So, two Ferraris back together again. Excuse me for sneezing, but I didn't want to blow anybody's eardrums up whilst I work in the office trying to type on the computer whilst wearing headphones and listening to me talking shit all day. As O'Leary goes wide, allowing JMS straight back through, so JMS is now up to 6th position, gone wide, was sideways for just a second, now going to try and chase down Swavi for 5th position. Now the track is drying. Do people stick it out another lap just in case more rain comes, or do they jump into the pits? We'll have to keep an eye out. Down over the jump, around the right-hander. This is where Swavi's going to have the advantage. It's a lot of strength. It's very, very quick through this bit, and it's also incredibly quick through the next bit. JMS is still there, right there with him. O'Leary's catching up, using the slipstream. Jin's catching up as well. Everyone jumping off the throttles just for a second. As O'Leary's gotten squirt. Can't keep the car straight, so Jin goes through. Jin's figured out how to turn the steering wheel left as he misses the corkscrew. No, he just about hits the corkscrew. I'll give him that, actually. JMS still on the wheel tracks of Swavi. Can he keep up with Swavi down the start foot, down this back straight? Does he get a better exit? Let's stay with him and find out. He does look like he gets a better exit. I don't think he's going to be close enough, though. Is Jin going to help him? No, Jin's going to go for the attack himself. So, JMS has now got the double slipstream of the two faster cars ahead of him. Is he going to... Is that Ferrari going to go any quicker? It has. It's gone the fastest I've actually seen it all evening at 179 before the brakes. Who comes into pits? Auto comes into the pits. The top three stay out. Gunmad now ahead of Yuri for 2nd position. Who comes into the pits out of this lot? Everybody. So does O'Leary. So the top three might have made a mistake here by staying out. Gunmad now closing up a little bit on Davy. He was closing up on Davy until he can't drive and can't turn the steering wheel to the right and make the corner. Yes, JMS, I'm going to insult myself as well. Not Jin, sorry. Yes, I'm going to insult myself. So, Davy now uncontested for 1st position. Auto comes out on softs with technically two to go. Swavi on the mediums. JMS on the mediums. Jin on the mediums. Amy comes out in 9th. O'Leary comes out ahead of Jin, but gets a 3-second penalty for crossing the white line on the pit exit. So O'Leary's race has just gone from bad to even worse. Amy comes out on the mediums. Wiz comes out on the mediums. yeah, I will try and keep an eye on that. I'm going to also try and keep an eye on everybody else. Dr. Esty comes out on the softs. Moo comes back out on a set of mediums. Well, no, I think he stayed out on mediums actually for that lap. Cherry just got past Granelli and lapped Granelli. Granelli's having a horrible race. Where's Boa? Boa's just coming around to the final corner now, so two AMGs trying their best to catch up to first. I think they're now on a bit of damage control and trying to hold on to second and third, as the wets was not a good tyre choice, I don't think, so we'll keep an eye on Auto. So top three are there. Auto's this car here, so we'll keep an eye on these guys, but I want to go back and watch these two because these two are back at it again. These two just seem to be magnetically attracted to each other this evening. Suave can't quite get the car turned in, a little squiggly on entry, but JMS knows as JMS goes wide onto the damp patch, can't quite get the car turned in. Yep, ring around the roses as the yellow flag comes out as Jin comes around the corner. Can Jin really close up the gap to JMS? Suave in fifth is now safe. Jin's trying to close up that gap. He's definitely got momentum at the moment. That's what happened there. No, Suave's not safe. Suave screws himself over, then goes deep into the corner, which allows JMS up to fifth and Jin up to sixth. But Jin's caught right up to the back of JMS. Now offline is still very wet, so passing now and driving how Jin's going to be driving, just driving through there is not going to be good. Now let's keep. Where's Auto? That's where Auto is, and that's where Yuri is. Yuri is trying his absolute best. Yuri's dropped right off the back of his teammate Gunmad, who is still just about sticking with Davi. Davi's still in his sights. There's Yuri going around that corner. There you go, look down the bottom. There's third position, there's fourth. There's one corner difference. So the way Auto's currently going, Auto might, or definitely grabs third. He might even grab second. Let's come back. JMS has managed to pull a gap to Jin, surprisingly. Now Suave's a bit further back. Suave's going to use a straight line speed in these final sections around this area and down the back straight to really reel in and catch up with these two. Amy's up into 8th position, so good race from her at the moment. We've got Illyri in 9th, who's just had another accident, who's now dropped down to 11th. He was in 9th, and Wiz is now in 9th. Dr. Esty's now up to 10th, and Illyri's now down to 11th with a 3-second penalty on top of that. As Wiz has a crash into the carousel, can't get the car stopped, has got both front bumper and front wheel damage going into the carousel. So Illyri back up to 10th position. Gonna try and fight Dr. Esty for 9th. Try and force the error and then potentially try and fight him again in a little bit. Right, let's jump back forward because I want to find out what the gap's like ahead. Oh, JMS, that's not gonna help you. Here comes Jin. Jin goes up the dry line. JMS has spun around again. So JMS has gotten onto the wet stuff and JMS has spun out and lost out that 5th position and now down to 7th. Suave comes through for 6th position. Is now going to try and chase down Jin for 5th. Auto has gotten past Yuri. So Yuri really struggling at the moment on these pretty much now, what, they're dead intermediate tyres. So Auto, providing he can keep it on the road like he didn't do just there, He may try and reel in Gunmad, who is in halfway down the straight at the moment, trying to make those tyres last, as Davi's in a similar position as well. As Auto's found the grass again, and the wall on both sides even got damage. Yuri's got a best corner, he's got no tyres at all. Right, I'm going to stop jumping now, I'm going to stick here. Let's stay here. Come on, thank you. So, Davi comes into the pits. So does Gunmad. They've both got enough fuel to go on to the end, so it's just tyres and go. Right, I'm going to stick with these guys for just a moment. Does Swavi catch up to Jin? No, Swavi's going a little bit slower than Jin. Davi comes out. Auto comes through. Does he get ahead of Gunmad? No, as Gunmad touches the white line, so he gets a 3-second time penalty. So this is not going to look good for Gunmad as we come into the final lap of this race. So Davi's got himself first positions sealed and secured, providing he can keep it on the dry line. So Auto versus Gunmad for second position with Gunmad's 3-second penalty. How's that going to plan out? Drama on that final lap, you can't get it any finer. I'm actually sat on the beanbag relaxed, now I'm sat up because this is going to be interesting. Obviously I know because I did the race and I'm here, but regardless. So Jin now up to 4th, Swavi up to 5th, Amy up to 6th, JMS up to 7th, Yuri down to 8th after having done an extra lap on the wet tyres, is now on the soft. So can Yuri gain any gap? I think the closest battle is probably going to be for second. I don't think these two are close enough, whereas these two are actually really close. So Gunmad out onto the white stuff, onto the wet stuff at the background. We're going to stay on board with these two. Let's see if Gunmad can reel in Auto, and let's see if he can build enough of a time gap before the back straight to potentially keep hold of second position. You don't really want to be touching too many curbs, as these two both demonstrate. You've got to be careful on the curbs. So the two closest drivers at the moment are for second of battling for second position. The Renault Megane and the Renault RS01 versus the Mercedes AMG 20. Who will come out on top? Gunmad gets a really good couple of corners, gets a good run, has a little look up the inside, not going to offset Auto this time. Gunmad's got to try though, as Auto pulls a little bit of a gap through these couple of corners. Gunmad being a little bit tighter than potentially he should have, not carrying quite as much speed. Let's stay with these two. We'll then have a little look through the rest of the grid in just a moment. I want to get up to this back straight. Well, I say back straight, I want to get up to this little straight before we go and have a look at the rest of the grid. As Auto touches the white wet stuff on the outside and he goes off wide, so Gunmad's now been promoted up to second position. So Gunmad going onto this straight with a massive speed advantage compared to Auto. Auto's got damage as well as very worn tyres. Gunmad basically got fresh tyres on underneath that AMG. So can Gunmad build about a 5-second gap between now and pretty much what, about there? So Gunmad's got about half a lap to do that. Swavi still in 4th position. Jin's got himself a 2-second time penalty. So the battle for 4th probably going to be over. Don't think Jin can catch up and get past Swavi. I think Swavi's just a little too quick for Jin this time around. Further back, JMS is still just ahead of Amy, who's just ahead of Yuri at the moment. Yuri reeled in these two pretty quickly. Oh, lucky rain. Yeah, no, we had rain. You didn't. And you... Actually, no, I'm going to save that. I'm going to save it. So, JMS, can JMS hold off Amy and Yuri? Can Amy's internet stay and keep her in this race? Can Yuri get past these two drivers? Let's jump back forward again. Sorry, I want to keep an eye on this gap here because it looks like Gunmad's pulled out quite a gap already. That's not going to help Auto's case at all. So most likely, unless he has a colossal fuck up, is going to keep second position. Auto's dropped it just before YouTube corner, so Gunmad probably going to keep second position, but stick back with this group back here. Yuri all over the back of Amy. Amy's gone off wide into the wet grass. Can Amy keep it on the dry stuff? Just about keeps it on the dry stuff. As we go downhill, round to the left. Yuri's still very much there. Very much trying to chase down for seventh position. Round the right-hander. Can Amy keep it on? No, both drivers go off. Yuri just about keeps it together. Amy goes off and spins out. Now, JMS is going to try his absolute best to defend from Yuri with all of his might. But JMS is on medium tyres that are slightly worn. Yuri's on still one lap old soft tyres, which are about the same sort of wear at the moment. Soft versus mediums. Also, Yuri's got a much faster straight line speed car. Now, going further forward, I want to find out where Gunmad is. Right, Gunmad's just about to serve his time penalty. Where's Davy? Davy's up there, so we'll come back to Davy in just a moment. Gunmad's there. Yuri's not even on the straight yet. He's now on the straight, so Gunmad's got it. Gunmad's got it in the bag. There's the gap. Anyway, let's jump on board with Davy for the final couple of corners. He was dominant in the sprint race. He's been dominant here at the feature race. As he comes around the last corner for the final time. What are you doing? What are you doing? This is going to potentially allow Gunmad to have a look at the victory. So Davy trying to show off, nearly cocks it actually. Finally comes over the line and Gunmad's just there. Had Gunmad not had his 3-second penalty, he would have won that race. So, Davy coming over and showing off in first position. Gunmad comes through in second. Auto comes through around the corner in third position. Suave comes over the line for fourth. Can JMS does hold off Yuri. So JMS holds in fifth. Jin gets sixth. Yuri gets seventh with colossal damage. What happened to JMS? Yuri, sorry. Oh, I already see on the track map. Yuri's facing the wrong way, so something's happened. So, Yuri and JMS might have had an accident, actually. Coming into the final corner, so this has promoted Jin up to 6th. Dropped Yuri down to 7th, and it's got huge damage to his car. So, Yuri comes over the line for 7th position. Amy's internet holds out and comes over the line for a very respectful 8th position. So good job from Amy, good drive from Amy. Dr. Esty, after having an interesting feature race and an interesting sprint race for sure. What do you mean go further back? So Dr. Esty comes over the line for 9th position. Wiz comes over the line to hold on to 10th position, just about holds on to 10th position, and gets a top 10 in his debut here at the Nurburgring. And Leary comes around over the line just to hold, just short. Excuse me. No, he's not even. Just short in 11th position. Here comes Moo down the long back straight. I'll tell you what, Jin, let me get through the rest of the grid, then I'll go back. As Boa and Granelli are still in the pits, so they finished their races in 14th and in 15th position. Cherry's at the start of the back straight, and here comes Moo down the back straight, weaving all over the show. I'll tell you what, we'll keep going for just a moment. Jim, what do you mean go further back? Do you want to go further back to watch what Davi did? As Moo comes around the last corner for 12th position. Not the race Moo was looking for, not a race that Moo probably particularly enjoyed. As Cherry comes around the final corner for the final time. Oh, where you serve your pen, okay. Sorry guys, just want to... Let's go back just a little bit. Let's go back to here. Let's go back from here. So, Jin's made a special request and asked me to go back and have a look where he serves his pen, which we'll have a very, very brief look at before I go through the standings. Come on. Wake up, system. It's not that hard. There we go. Cool. Yeah, that's not going to help you. Swabi's miles down the road. Oh, I see what you mean. Oh, you braked on the wet stuff. There goes through Yuri. Yuri's got on past JMS. Actually, there's something we missed. I'm curious, whilst we're back here, I'm curious what's happened up here. So Yuri's gone ahead, JMS has now gone to the right on the white stuff. Yuri's defending the inside line, who's now on the wet stuff. As JMS gets... Oh, as we come around this left-hander. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh. So, oh dear. So we found out what happened. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not Stuart. I don't know. Because that's for potentially a top 5 finish. I don't know if that's going to get reported or not. Yeah. I think I'll leave that one to them two and see if them two want to report it. However, we're going to go on to the standings very briefly before I call it here. We've still got Swavi in first positions, and we've got Auto in second, 2 points behind. So we're going into the final round with 2 drivers fighting for the championship still on the final round with 2 points difference. Now Auto, I'm going to speak directly to you here. The last time you were in a championship battle, we went to Monza and you forgot what the brake pedal was into turn 1. And we had no championship battle, which was boring. Remember, there's a pedal in the middle of your car. It's called the brake. It's not the footrest. Press it into turn 1 and we'll have a good race. Anyway, moving on from memory lane, we then got Yuri in third position, who's 51 points behind, well, 51 and 53 points behind the top 2. So Yuri's pretty much got third secure. We then got JMS in fourth, 26 points behind Yuri. So Yuri's got a little bit of work to do. Got to make sure that he's got to make sure he keeps at least one Ferrari behind him. And we then got Davi in 5th position in the GTR, who is 1 point behind JMS. So there's potentially a battle for 3rd or 4th in the Drivers' Championship standings. Going over to the Constructors, the Toyota Supras are very much taking off with 301 points. We got the Renaults in second with 263, and in third position we have got the AMGs and the Lamborghinis with 241 points apiece. So the battle for second, excuse me, in the constructor standings is there. It's potential, but mainly the battle for third is going to be something I will be looking at. So there we have it. There's the Nurburgring. I hope you all have enjoyed. Take care, and we'll see you next week for a little special. Stay tuned to find out what's going on, and we'll see you soon.